So I'd come to the end of my education, and it was time to do externship. You have to go out and do 2 weeks of unpaid, kind of slave labor at a clinic site to be able to cement your skills. And I'd really been interested at the time at going to a local practice that was internal medicine. I had become interested in rheumatology over the years. My wife has an autoimmune condition. She's had it for 18 years. I'd been her caregiver, and I'd really become interested in where that kind of cutting edge of science and medicine crossed. And that was my vision for myself. I was going to go there, really wow some provider, become a physician's assistant, and go on from there. But the issue was that the local practice didn't have a person there for me to shadow. The person they had hoped for me to shadow on my externship was out on leave, and they weren't able to take care of that. And the instructors came to me and said, hey, you've got to get done with the course. You've got to do your externship so you can go get your certification and get a job. And indeed, the money was running out, and I needed to do that. So they said, we can get you in at Humboldt Open Door Clinic in Arcata. And I thought, oh, great. Humboldt Open Door Clinic. I'm going to see people with colds and kids with head lice. And I thought, fine, I'll go there and learn what it is you have to teach, having forgotten what it was like to be going there as a patient over the years. And I can tell you the kind of patient that I was. I was the kind of patient who came in and lied about how much he drank, and lied about how much he smoked, and lied about whether he used drugs, and probably intended to pay his bills, but very often didn't, because when it came time to pay bills, well, I had different priorities. But I was always treated well, and so I thought, okay, I'll go there and learn what they've got, and then I'm going to do what I want to do. And I went there, and I was there for my first 3 days, and I was totally blown away. Every person that I met there, every medical assistant, every provider, every nurse, every counselor, administrator, biller, receptionist, everyone went to the mat for every person who came through the door looking for help. And it didn't matter what you looked like, and it didn't matter what you smelled like, and it didn't matter how much money you had, or what language you spoke, or if you were gay, or straight, or white, or black, man or woman, or whatever. It didn't even matter if you acted the way that people should act with each other. They did everything they could for the folks that came in and for each other. And I suddenly knew why I wanted to be in medicine. I always knew that this was the right thing for me, but suddenly I understood why. It was to be like them, to be a person who made the difference in lives of people who often had no one else to advocate for them. And I knew that they weren't hiring at the time, but I really was hoping to be able to work with them. So I thought, when I'm done with my externship, I'll turn in an application and a resume, and maybe they'll call me. And during that week, the administrator of HODC at the time came to me with his clinic coordinator, and his name was Jay Malofsky. And he came to me and said, hey, you're looking at being in healthcare. We're going to have an all-staff meeting today, and we're going to talk about healthcare stuff. You should come, and there's free food. And I thought, awesome. I love free food. And I really want to learn how to be like these people. So I went there, and I was there for my first day, and I'll never forget it. I'm like there, and I got my sandwich stuffed in my mouth, and I've got my notepad in my hand, and I'm ready for whatever it is they bring on. And Jay started off the meeting, and I will never forget this. He started off with a question. He goes, okay, everybody, I've got a question for you. I've got a question. Why are we here? Why does Open Door exist? And he let it go around the room, and some people had some good answers, and some people had some really funny answers. And he said, you know, that's all great, but let me bring it back down and tell you why I believe we are here. He goes, I believe we are here to serve our patients. We are here to serve them. They are not here to give us something to do with our time, or a way to bring home a paycheck, or a way to advance our career. We are here to serve them, and I want us all to talk together today about ways that we can do that even better. When I heard him say that, I just knew I had to work for these people. Anyone who talked like that, I had to work for them. Now, it's my good fortune that after that meeting, Jay and Elaine came to me and said that they saw promise in me, and if I was willing, they could hire me on as an extra medical assistant until they could find a provider to link me with. It's been one of the very best things that's happened to me. I've done much of my growth as a human being and as a professional here at Open Door. And the reason I'm telling you this story is because that idea that Jay talked about, this idea of being of service, was not just his idea. During the years that I've worked at Open Door, I've had the privilege of working at virtually every site and with every department throughout the organization, and I can tell you that this idea of service is from the very top of the organization, the people who have C in front of their title, Chief Executive Officer, Chief Operations Officer, Chief Medical Officer, right on down to the frontline staff who serve every day with our folks. And the purpose in telling you about this story and this idea is because you all, as you listen today, as you take these trainings this week with us here at Onboarding, I want you to know that you have a choice. You have an option in front of you. Choice number one, you can come to work and do your job and go home, and we'll give you a paycheck. The other choice that you have goes along with that, which is you can decide that you want to buy in as a stakeholder, that you want to buy into this thing that we do here, to this mission at Open Door, and all it takes to buy in is a decision that you make it here. So as we talk about our topic today, which is member relations, the way in which we relate to each other and to the folks that we serve, I want you to consider how this all applies. So with that, the first thing to talk about is this idea of mission. I talked about being able to buy in as a stakeholder to the mission, and we have a mission here at Open Door. Here in community healthcare in general, we talk about being mission-driven, that we have a mission to fulfill within our community. I wonder how many folks actually know the story of community health centers. Community health centers in our country actually started way back in the late 60s and early 70s. Back then, the World Health Organization, a part of the United Nations, decided to do a survey of health systems around the world to decide which ones were the very best and why, so that we could all learn and grow from that. And one of the conclusions they came to was that healthcare in America was the best in the world, as long as you were rich and white, and preferably male. So if you weren't lucky enough to have hit the trifecta there, for everyone else it was like, oh well. And many of the people out there at the time, the people protesting for social justice in this country, and many doctors and nurses across the United States felt that was very, very wrong. And right here in California, volunteers from the social justice movement, providers, nurses, got together and started the very first community health centers and on a volunteer basis. Open Door is one of those very first community health centers. We have people working in this organization and leading this organization who have been in the movement from the very beginning. And that idea of social justice is really the core of our mission here. When we talk about our mission at Open Door, when we make big decisions about the services we will do or that we won't do, we look at that and we ask ourselves, how does this fit with our mission? And our mission here actually underlies the very policies on which our system is founded. You know, the United States has a document called the Constitution. It's a written document that says who we are and what we will do and how we'll go about doing it. In the same way, in our industry, policies are that Constitution. They say what Open Door is, what we'll do, how we'll go about doing it. So I think before we go any farther, we need to talk about what is this mission that we're talking about? What is this mission at Open Door? So first, there's a focus on those that we serve. The underlying philosophy of the Open Door Community Health Centers is that an individual has primary responsibility for his or her own life. As people learn more about their bodies and the health needs and the social institutions which affect them, they gain more control over their lives. To this end, Open Door Community Health Centers exist to provide health, education, and social services to the residents of Humboldt and Del Norte counties and the surrounding rural areas. That's out of Operations Policy 002. Second is the way that we go about doing it. Seeks to promote the development of a healthcare system which meets the needs and enhances the health of all the individuals in our community, and services will be provided without regard to a person's culture, ethnicity, economic status, sexual orientation, gender, or ability to pay. In other words, you're human, and you come in, and you're still breathing, and you want help. That's why we're here. We're here to help everyone that we can, because everyone matters. So, what does that actually mean? It means that our patients, members of Open Door, have certain rights when they engage with anybody, and you have these same rights when you engage with each other as well. And the first of these is the foundation of all good relationships, to be treated with dignity and respect. That's right out of Operations Policy 014. Our policies say that everyone has that right to be treated with dignity and respect. And so we're going to look today at ways, practical ways that we can do that together, not just with our patients, but with each other also. Okay, I'm going to breathe for a moment. Doing fine.
Stop for a second?
Yeah, just going to stop for a second here.
He's going to stop for a second.
just to breathe. Hey, thank you. And I need to look at my, can you bring me my phone for just a second? I want to look at where I said, I want to look at where I said I'm going to stop the next section.
Hey, Matt, I have a cold that it's almost over, but I'm like kind of hot. Was it bubbling again? I was trying to be quiet.
How you doing?
I didn't hear anything, so you're
I didn't notice you either.
okay.